On my quest to find the perfect audio interface, I've accumulated a wealth of knowledge that I want to share with you into this video. However, I'm not going to bore you with unnecessary details. Instead, I'm going to dive right into the meat of this video, and that is buy an Audient interface if you can afford it. They are awesome. They come in different price ranges, and we're going to talk all about the details and the specifics. You didn't thought I would leave those one out, didn't you? Into this video. Stay tuned. What's up, music expanders? My name is Mark Daniel and I want to welcome you to Pop Song University, the place where you can learn how to produce and write better songs and write hits. That is actually what I'm here about. I'm here to teach you how to set up a home studio, how to write better songs, and how to write great pop songs. Now, today we are covering the Audient ID22, that is this baby right here. As you can see, the Audient ID22 looks very professional because it is very professional. I own this piece of hardware for almost 5 years now and it has never let me down. This is my primary recording audio interface. I record here all my vocals, my guitars, and also other instruments when people come around and we're jamming or recording tracks. Now, one thing that I want to cover about this audio interface that is absolutely amazing, and it was very hard to believe when I first found out, is that this audio interface shares the same preamps found at the ASP8024 from Audient. This console from Audient costs about $42,000. I mean, that is crazy, $42,000. But why do you care? Well, you should care because the ASP8024 features the same preamps as the Audient interface. As a matter of fact, all the ID series, same as the ID22, feature the same preamps. That are the same preamps on this interface here, but cost about $400, found on the same console that costs $42,000. I mean, the recording quality of this one is amazing. Stick around to find more about this amazing piece of gear. Right when you look at it, you can see that there are two big white buttons on it. One says dim, the other one says cut. The one that says dim and cut, they do one thing, and they cut or lower the volume that you hear from this audio interface. That is great, because if you are in a separate room and you're recording, with a big glass in the middle, and you want to say something, and you have too much noise going on around, too much sound going around, you can press the dim button and everything. The volume doesn't go away completely, but it gets lessened. You're like, oh, what did you say? I didn't hear what you say. Or if you want to cut it completely, you're like, okay, dude, we have to talk about because your performance is not. I'm just kidding. You can just talk with your bandmates and with your clients if you're recording for them professionally. So the dim and the cut is more a studio feature that you likely are not going to use in your home studio, but it is a great feature if you're going to upgrade in the future. The next feature that we find on the Audient ID22 is that it has ADAT. ADAT, that means that you can record, that you can add actually 8 more extra channels on it. Audient sells a separate channel rack. I'm not exactly sure how you call those things, but they sell an extra 8 inputs that you can plug into the ID22. And you can do this by an optical ADAT that records at 44 kilohertz and 48 kilohertz. Now, this audio interface goes much higher than that. But if you're willing to record at a 44 or a 48 kilohertz, then you can add those extra 8 inputs. You might ask yourself, why do you need 8 extra inputs since this interface has already 2 inputs on it? Well, let's say you want to record drums, or let's say you want to record your voice, your guitar, and the voice and the guitar of one of your bandmates. How are you going to do that if you want to do it at the same time? You need extra inputs. That is where the 8 extra inputs come in place. Now, you also can buy some other brands such as Behringer or some other brand out there, but I don't recommend doing that. Even if the one that Audient sells is quite expensive, if you absolutely need them and you're going to record them on a consistent basis, you're going to use the extra 8 inputs on a consistent basis, save up and buy the one from Audient because it sounds absolutely amazing. And you were doing a disservice by plugging something from Behringer into Audient. I mean, you're going to hear the difference in sound, and that is something that you don't want. Again, if you're using the extra 8 inputs consistently, then you should opt for the Audient one. That means that if you put the extra inputs, you will get 10 ins and 12 outs. That's why it's called also ID22. Now, if you look on the back of this interface, you're going to see that we have 4 outputs where you can plug in 2 different sets of speakers. That is right here and right here. I use this a lot because I have 2 different sets of speakers. I'm using, one of them are the Yamaha 8 series and another one is a Behringer, which are big, and I'm going to upgrade them later. But anyways, I'm using 2 sets of speakers, but this is not the only way to use the 4 outputs right here. You could send output 1 and 2 into a set of speakers, like I just said, and the other outputs you could use like for a direct monitoring. For example, you record your guitar and you want to send the raw signal into a different kind of processor, you can do this, which is something really useful, but you can use into a studio environment. Also, the Audient gives you the capability to change between the different outputs. Let's say you have, as I said, 2 sets of speakers. With one knob, you can choose to listen either to 1 or 2 of them. That is great if you're mixing, because the 8 sets that I have are small and the Behringer that I have are rather big, are 8 inch, and the 8 sets, Yamaha 8S5 that I have are like 5 inch. So they're great for the highs, but I miss a little bit the low end. That's why when I connect the second set of speakers, I can toggle between them and I can listen and I can compare the sound that I'm mixing between the 2 separate sets of monitors, which is great. That gives me a more 360 view of the sound, and that results in better mixes. Next, we have 2 microphone preamps, which sound absolutely amazing, as we already said. Those preamps are great for each input that you have. Right here, you have also different functions. The first one is the 48 phantom power, which some microphones require. The second one is a minus 10 dB, that is if your signal becomes too hot, meaning that it's too loud. The third one is a change of phase. This one, it's just change the phase. And the third one is a low cut that removes the low rumbling that you may hear in some recordings from some microphones. I'm not a fan of this one. I'm not going to use it a lot. I'm not using it a lot. I can do this, I can cut the lows in the post-processing and not before that. I like to record all my signals like in the full audio and spectrum, like all the lows and mids and the highs. I want to have everything in my computer, and then I decide what frequencies I want to keep and which frequencies I want to delete. You also have the option to listen to your music into mono. This is great if you're mixing. Why? And I've not heard that many reviewers talk about this. It's because when you are mixing music, when you are not producing but mixing the mixing states and later on the mastering states, you want that your music sounds great on cell phones. And because cell phones have typically mono speakers and laptop speakers are typically also mono speakers, small speakers, if your music doesn't sound great on these kind of devices, that means that 80% of the people out there who are going to listen to your music are going to have a bad experience. Why? Because 80% of the people out there listen to music from their phone or from their laptop speakers or from the crappy speakers that they have at home. Nothing wrong with that, just you need to remember who your consumer is, and you need to adjust your mix in order that it sounds very good also in the $10,000 set that you find in a club, but also in the small crappy speakers that you find at many laptops. Also, those 3 buttons are completely customizable, and you can do this inside the awesome interface, inside the awesome software that comes with every Audient hardware, and I'm going to talk about this more in a minute, but that interface is one of the best software interfaces that I have found that comes bundled with a audio unit. Another function that I really like about the software that comes paired with the Audient is that when you have the headphone output right here, you see that there is no switch between the raw and the processed signal that comes from your computer. For example, if you look at the audio that I have right here, you will see that it says USB and direct. That means that if you have it on USB, you can listen to the process signal from your computer. And when you have it on direct, you can listen to the incoming signal, which may be your guitar, a voice, or some other instrument. Audient is lacking that feature, but the software that comes bundled with Audient allows you to change the settings and also listen to the raw incoming signal and to the signal from your computer. So it's absolutely worth it that Audient comes bundled with that software. Also, lately, I'm thinking it was about a year or two ago, that Audient upgraded from version 3 of the software to version 4 of the software. And that was a very big upgrade, because before of that, some people had complained about that about static noise, about a noise and sort of static noise that came from Audient, and that was mainly because of the bad software. I think something was happening with the drivers, software was out of date. Nevertheless, it was fixed with version 4. Version 4 gives you so much more capabilities. If you're interested in learning more about the Audient software, leave a comment below and I'll make a video just for you. The Audient ID22 works also with computers and also with Mac. Not even tablet users are going to be left disappointed, because it also works with tablets. The Audient ID22 also features a very low noise level. That means that there is a very low noise floor when you're recording. If you're going to input here a microphone and you're going to turn up the gain, yes, you might have to put it around here, or maybe around 100, maybe 80%, or you can put it at 80, at 70%. Even if you put it at 100, you're going to hear minimal, maybe no background noise at all. And that is because the preamps are so damn awesome inside this unit, which is amazing. We already talked about them. I'm not going to repeat it, but I'm really, even after 5 years, I'm still excited about the quality that this audio unit delivers, and it is comparable with other units that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. An example of what I'm talking about can be found with budget audio interfaces. For example, if you take a Scarlett or some other type of budget audio interface and you record different vocals, you record harmonies, and you stack them all together, you're going to hear clicks, you're going to hear pops, you're going to hear a bit of background static noise, which is undesirable when you're mixing or producing music. That is something that is not the case with the Audient ID22 or any of the Audient of the ID series, because you can record very professional sounding vocals and instruments inside your computer with just using this audio interface. However, if you're recording a guitar, I always recommend you use a DI box, because a DI box is going to give you much more fuller sound than even those great preamps that are inside this audio unit. So using a DI box is not a must, but I always recommend it, even if the Audient does a very great job even without the DI box. I've made more videos talking about audio interfaces and studio gear that you might need in your studio, so make sure to click on the recommended videos, which is going to show somewhere on the screen. And for the last function, or the last great thing that I like about the Audient, is that it's very easy to use. Even if you don't know nothing about audio interfaces, simply download their software, plug it inside the USB port, and it is plug and play, baby. That is what I like about Audient. It's very easy to work with. Thank you, music expanders, for watching this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and see you next time.